September 9th. If you all stand, we'll say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bolingbroke.
Here.
Homer Glenn.
Here.
Lamont.
Here.
Romeoville. Here. Woodbridge.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve going into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation?
So moved, Lamont.
Motion's been made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Bolingbroke.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeoville.
Yes.
Woodbridge.
Yes.
All yes.
Okay, we're going to go to as their consideration was inadvertently left off the agenda. I'd like the board to review the minutes for any needed changes. Motion, is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a first,
Second.
we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. This is under approval of bills. Is there a motion to approve the payment of 3 separate invoices to Tressler LLP totaling $30,297.29?
So moved.
Motion approved. We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. Motion passes. Under labor record,
We need a vote.
we need a roll call. Ken?
Bolingbroke.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeoville. Yes. Woodbridge.
Yes.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the payment of an invoice to labor record totaling $426.87? We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. Cam, please call the roll.
Bolingbroke.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeoville. Yes. Woodbridge.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay, this would be 3. Is there a motion to approve the payment of an invoice to the First American Title Insurance Company totaling $41,000?
So moved.
We have a first. We have a second. Cam, call the roll.
Bolingbroke.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeoville. Yes. Woodbridge.
Yes.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the payment of an invoice to Postal Yard totaling $629.75?
So moved. Second.
We have a first, we have a second. Cam, please call the roll.
Bolingbroke.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeoville.
Yes. Motion passes. This would be under action items. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 14-04, the resolution authorizing certain settlements in the American Lake Water condemnation case?
Move.
We have a first. We have a second. Please call the roll.
I'm sorry.
I think you need an explanation.
Oh, okay.
Mike, would you give an explanation of this?
Sure. Mayor, what this resolution does is we have, and this actually will be my litigation report, if that's okay.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman. We have about 19 defendants in this lawsuit who have interests in the underlying real estate. Under the Eminent Domain Act, we had to name them because they're quote-unquote interested in the property. It is our goal, and we've achieved that now with most of them, to get these defendants to agree that they have no interest in the actual pipeline, and that they basically agree that the taking can take place. So what this resolution does is it authorizes the chairman to approve these stipulations as they come in. We've got signed stipulations from MWRD. We've got a signed stipulation from Bedford Park. We anticipate about 6 additional signed stipulations in the short order, and that'll allow the settlement business of the agency to take place prior to our next quarterly meeting. So the resolution in front of you grants that authority to the chairman. It also expressly approves 2 of them that we already have from MWRD and from Bedford Park.
Okay, is there any questions for the attorney? Okay, Cam, please call the roll.
Mayor, before I do that, who was the first of that?
Who was the first down there, I believe?
Lamont.
Lamont.
Thank you. Thank you. Bolingbrook.
Yes.
Palmer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeo Villa. Yes. And Woodridge.
Yes.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve and release executive session minutes of September 10th, 2012 and December 9th, 2014?
So moved.
We have the first. Here. Okay. So the motion reads, is there a motion to approve and release the executive session minutes of September 10th, 2012 and December 9th, 2013? And we have a first and we have a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
The state statute requires periodic review of executive session minutes, and that ones that are no longer privileged or germane to whatever was the basis of the executive session be periodically released. This is releasing the executive session minutes for 2 prior executive sessions.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Cam, please call the roll.
Bolingbrook.
Yes.
Palmer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeo Villa. Yes. And Woodridge.
Yes.
Motion carries. This would be 3 for discussion, discussing purposes. Is there a motion to approve a preliminary engagement letter with William Blair?
So moved.
We have a first, we have a second. Is there any discussion? This will be-
Yes, with the economic meltdown, one of the changes that were done at a federal level was that the Securities and Exchange Commission promulgated rules governing financial advisors and the presentation of financial advice. The agency has been working with William Blair since the beginning on different financial scenarios on how an acquisition would be financed. With these changes, we now need to have an engagement letter in order for them to provide continued advice. There's no financial exposure to the agency. This is just so that they can consult with us. And it's preliminary engagement letter.
I just have a question. Was there any consideration going through an FA? Would that oversee the FA?
Yeah. It's a question whether we went through any,
Financial advisor.
yes. And the answer is no, there is an exception. We are not required to enter into this engagement letter.
Okay. Is there any, was that answer your question? Is there any further discussion? Okay. We have a first and a second. Cam, call the roll.
Bolingbrook.
Yes.
Palmer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Romeo Villa.
Yes.
Woodridge.
Yes.
Cam, on number 4, how does this read?
I think you're going to open it up for someone to make a motion.
Is there a motion for payment of legal fees to the attorneys of IAM/ALW?
Second.
We have a first, we have a second. Discussion.
Dan, would you like to address the fees?
These are the fees entered as a result of the court order in the condemnation action originated by the agency for the taking of the pipeline. And essentially, the payment of these fees will then terminate the first session of this litigation, and in the ongoing litigation, which is still open and pending in the Circuit Court of Will County, this will allow us to continue to proceed with that ongoing litigation.
Okay, are there any questions for the attorney? Any further discussion?
Do you have the full amount? The amount?
The amount, I do not have the amount.
There's a copy of the court order in the board packet. And the full amount being sought is $107,351.15 in attorney's fees, and $7,142.63 in expenses.
Okay, that's read into the record. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it should be noted in the minutes that this item is related to item 9.2, the consultant's report on the court order. So these two items are related. I believe Mr. Formeller just reported on it. And we'll take care of that item as well unless there's questions.
Okay. Okay, is there any further discussion? Cam, please call the roll.
Oldenburg.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lyle.
Yes.
Roseville.
Yes.
Woodridge.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 14-05, a resolution authorizing the chairman or vice chairman to make purchases of $5,000 or less with the suggested following amendment? I'd like to suggest that the amendment of the resolution requiring the signature of both the chairman and the vice chairman for the purposes of $5,000 or less. First, we have a first?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Simply changing or to and.
Or to,
The revised resolution was passed out. It does require joint approval, and the intention here is to cover smaller expenses since we only meet quarterly. As we move into discovery, there'll be court reporters and there'll be copying costs and depositions. So the request is that in between meetings, and some bills can be paid.
My motion reflects that.
pardon me?
My motion reflects that all in first.
Okay. Were you the first or the second? The first motion reflects what the attorney just stated. Does the second concur?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Cam?
Well, I could, just because it's, some people may not know, state law allows $20,000 to be paid without board approval. Bolingbrook only limits that to 10. In this case, we're limiting 5, requiring 2 officers to sign off on it. So our threshold is considerably lower than what the state statutes allow us to do. But for the small items like the quarter, $26 we just approved the labor record, we don't really need to wait till a quarterly meeting to pay a quarter $26 bill. The labor record may need to run a little faster. So our threshold is pretty strong, 5,000 as opposed to 10 or 20.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Statements? Cam, can you call the roll?
Oldenburg.
Yes.
Homer Glenn.
Yes.
Lamont.
Yes.
Roseville. Yes. Woodridge.
Okay, motion carries. This would be 6. Board minutes from June 9, 2014. Are there any changes to the minutes? Okay, we'll put them on the next board agenda for approval. The minutes were inadvertently left off of the agenda, so we'll be on the next agenda. Moving on, we'll have a report from Trestle LLP, the water agency's attorneys.
Mr. Chairman, as I indicated earlier, we reported on number 1 and 2 as part of the adoption of the resolution of the payment of fees.
Okay.
We have no further
That's
report.
all you need. You don't need anything else? You want to say anything?
Unless there are questions.
Okay. Is there any questions for the attorneys? All right. On our consultant report, does Tressler have a report?
That's the item.
That's just it?
Just
Okay.
reported, yes.
I'm just going by the script here. Let's see here. Under future meeting dates.
Mr. Chairman, can I have a statement on it?
Sure. Go right ahead.
This condemnation is taking time. We knew it was going to take time when we started. And we've had a couple of bumps in the road, but we are continuing. It's clear that Illinois American is selling a lot of Kool-Aid, and a lot of people are drinking it, believing some of their stories. They've got multiple PR people working on their behalf. They are hired out-of-state law firms to come in and defend their case. I want to preface these remarks by stating we're in the midst of ongoing litigation. We therefore cannot go into great detail about our litigation strategy. But I can tell you this, the original case was filed in 2013. Over the course of the first year of litigation, we learned two things. One, American Lake Water will not settle this case, and it will go to trial. And two, we believe that Illinois American Lake Water will contest every technical possibility in an effort to delay the inevitable. Eminent domain litigation is unusual in many respects. This is because it's a taking of private property, and under the Constitution, it's held to a very high standard. Procedurally, eminent domain cases favor the property owner. The agency understands and recognizes this and takes responsibility very seriously. During the depositions, it became apparent that American Lake Water's lawyers were focusing on several small items. It was decided to be better to remove these issues. In March, the agency adopted a resolution authorizing the dismissal of the first case and refiling the current case. One of the issues, this was done knowing the agency would be responsible for fees in the dismissed case. The main difference in the two cases was the adding of the individual villages named as parties in the lawsuit. That was a technicality they were going after. Another was their attempt to blur the distinction between American Lake Water and Illinois American Water Company, insinuating what was being taken was unclear. The agency felt that by dismissing the first case was a practical thing to do. No one likes paying fees, but in the overall scheme of the litigation, it was the correct thing to do. It eliminates the defendant's arguments now and allows the agency to proceed in court to the evaluation stage earlier than if the parties had argued about technicalities for months. This would have burned up valuable time and attorney's fees in excess of what is being paid. This matter is far from over. The agency is committed to acquiring a pipeline. In addition to offset the cost, I'm happy to say our lawyers at Tressel's offered a discount on their invoices over the next year by $60,000. They understand that the agency is in its infancy and they are in a relationship for the long haul. Illinois American has consistently delayed producing documents and systematically implemented a series of delay tactics that are aimed at slowing the legal process down. These impediments will drive up the litigation costs. Interestingly enough, these legal fees and costs are being borne by the Illinois American Water Company's customers. Agency fees are also paid by local taxpayers. The costs for both sides are being paid by the same people. This is a fact that Illinois American doesn't speak about. Illinois American is attempting to deflect the public's attention from reality. Their water is overpriced, and the agency is confident it can deliver water in a more cost-effective manner than a private entity that is driven by making a profit. The media should be focusing on some of the other facts, and here are some of those. One, Illinois American has a deplorable business record. Recently, the Southtown Star and Food and Water Watch have signaled Illinois Americans having the highest water rates in the state. One article by the Food and Water Watch states correctly that privatization of water resources has a poor track record and is unacceptable and irresponsible alternative to traditional public provision of water and sewer services. As another example of the company's poor business practices, the National Labor Relations Board ruled on August 4th, just a month ago, that American Water Company, including its Illinois American subsidiary, illegally slashed employee benefits, and the company was ordered to pay back wages with interest to restore the benefits they had unilaterally cut. Another fact, over 90% of the water and sewer providers in the United States are owned by public entities. There is a simple reason for this. Water is a basic need and is best provided for by a governmental unit that does not operate for a profit. These are the type of headlines that should be written about, and this is the focus we believe the media should be investigating. This company has a history of continually requesting rate increases, and the company president, Carla Teasley, stated at one of our meetings they will continue to file for rate increases with the Illinois Commerce Commission because it takes 2 years to get an increase approved. In other words, if the ICC approves an increase to the Illinois American, they will immediately file for another increase. This merry-go-round of increases will never stop with this company. What is different about our water from anyone else's state to warrant these outrageous prices? Nothing but greed. The municipalities of Bolingbrook, Homerville, Lamont, Romeoville, and Woodbridge are committed to providing their citizens with water at the most economical cost possible. By owning the pipeline, this agency can take control of their own destiny when it comes to future growths and costs. There's some articles that set oversight out there, truth about Felton, Missouri. The quote in the article was, "Public ownership has saved Felton households hundreds of dollars a year in our total water costs." Feel free to read it. That's what we're going after. What is the benefit of privatization of water? This is from the State of the Plan publication on why privatization is not the way to go. An article summarizing the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board article about Holland American cutting benefits. Another article on 10 reasons to oppose water privatization. An article in the Southtown, August 19th, just a couple weeks ago, Phil Cadner writes, the suburbs, I had this marked in this article. Homer Glen, Bolingbrook, Romeoville, Lamont, and Woodridge are formed an Illinois Water County agency to escape the grip of Illinois American Water, which is charged the highest water rates in the state. Another one by Illinois American Water, Rockville, Illinois. Granted, it's a dated article, but it points out why their costs are so high. And 3 examples that came up in just the last 2 weeks locally. I had a resident come to see me, a grandmother with her grandchild, in tears because she had gotten home and she lives at a bus stop in Bolingbrook. And taped on her front glass door of her house was this pink sheet telling her she was in arrears paying her water bills and how much she owed. Now what's appalling about it, that was done just to humiliate her in her neighborhood. She cried the entire time she was in my office. Now what the questionable thing is, it had her name, complete name, her address, her account number, and the amount she owed. That kind of information should be privileged and not taped in a public place. And she happened to be in front of a bus stop, so all the other parents got to see the fact that she was a water reader. Now I understand that was done to embarrass her, and it's certainly a common state goal, but is that a professional way to do business? Another one, this article is from a resident who received 2 American complaints. First, he has automatic withdrawal from water company, so they withdraw his monthly bill. They control when they take the money, and then they charge him a late fee. So they have automatic withdrawal to pay his bill. If they wait until after the date is due, then they charge him a late fee, even though they control the withdrawal. He said this has happened several times, and he has to call them and straighten it out. Secondly, he received a letter asking for access to a meter. This is not the first letter he received. He's already met with an inspector, and the meter has been inspected, but he continued to get letters wanting to inspect his meter. Another resident came in last week complaining because they wanted to change her meter. They said, we're only available Monday through Friday. She asked me to come in on Saturday. Then she asked, they set an appointment after morning. They never showed up. So their service is bad, their prices are high. This litigation will continue. I am personally very pleased the board continues to do so. And anything we can do to shut this company down and get them out of Will County and south of Page will be and Cook will be good for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else need to make a comment before we move on? Okay. Then the future board meeting dates are as follows. December 8th, 2014 in Woodridge, March 15th, 2015 in Bolingbrook, and June 8th, 2015 in Lamont. Moving on. Everybody okay with those dates? Okay. Then are there any questions from the audience per the agency's guidelines?
Excuse me, Mayor, there's a page missing in your resolution 1404. In 3 of the packets I went through, it seems to end on page 2 under section 1, but there seems to be no final signature page, and I checked a couple packets. I was just wondering if I could get a complete resolution.
Yeah, we'll have to get you one.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the public?
Hi, Jeff Zazulowicz with the Chicago Tribune. Per the William Blair agenda item, how much has the agency paid William Blair at this point? And are you guys envisioning GO or revenue bonds?
We don't pay him anything.
You don't pay him anything? Okay.
We just can't talk to him without this letter.
Okay. But, you know, as going forward with the bond issue, do you anticipate, you know, GO bonds or revenue bonds, you know, funding the endeavor in the future?
The underlying agency agreement makes it clear that no GO bonds will ever be used, that this
that
Sorry,
answer?
one more question.
Sure.
The water company says that, you know, if you look at an average resident's bill, the Bedford Park service charge is a fraction of the overall bill. Can you talk at all about how taking over this one water pipeline that appears, you know, to me as a layperson to be a small part of the bill will, you know, substantively affect a Bolingbrook resident's water bill, for example?
You want to handle that, Tom?
I'd be happy to discuss the entire billing process with you, but as a quick answer to that, the water charged by American Lake Water, the lake water charge, has gone up significantly from day one, and it is, depending upon usage, a smaller part of the bill, but it's also an increase that can be controlled, you know, by the profit motive there. And the rest of the bill certainly has to be addressed as well. But I'd be happy to walk through it with you.
And even a small amount multiplied by hundreds of thousands of people ends up being a large amount.
But if it's, you know, $5 on a $100, you know, bill or a $90 bill, you know, that's what they're saying. I'm just, you know, would like to hear kind of what the agency's thought is on that.
If it's $5 on 200,000 people, you know, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but not for one household. It's only $5 on a household's bill, right?
It's not, and we'd have to take the bills and show you the different usages. We'd show you a low usage, a larger usage, and a medium, but I'd be happy to do that with you.
Okay, are there any further questions from the audience? All right. Let's see here. Then, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a first?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Can't call the roll, please.
Bolingbrook.
Yes.
Humphrey Glenn.
Yes.
Bonds.
Yes.
Roman Ville. Yes. Woodridge.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned.